Big thank you to one of our viewers from Cornwall who pointed me in the direction of this document. It's from the Bonavero Institute of Human Rights. It was published on the 6th of May 2020, so very early on in the COVID situation. It's come out of Oxford University, Faculty of Law, and it's covering COVID, essentially COVID policy worldwide. There is a particular section by Dr. Elizabeth Stubbins Bates, who's talking about the situation in the United Kingdom. But what our viewer pointed out was this section here. Let's have a look at what it's talking about. It's talking about following the NICE Rapid Guideline. If we blow that up on screen, following the NICE Rapid Guideline, there were individual cases of GP surgeries writing to elderly patients and those with underlying health conditions, including learning disabilities, either to request or inform them of the imposition of do not attempt resuscitation orders. So this particular person who said this said they were so shocked to see what had been going on that there was the targeting of people with learning disabilities with regard to do not resuscitate. And I get into another section here. We'll bring this up on screen as well. NICE applied a numerical clinical frailty scale, usually used for patients with dementia, suggesting that those requiring personal care support and mobility with a frailty score of 5 or more would be perhaps ineligible for critical care. The NICE guideline was amended following a letter before action from solicitors representing people with autism and learning disabilities, so that the scale is not to be used in younger people, people with stable long-term disabilities, for example, cerebral palsy, learning disabilities or autism, who should receive an individual assessment. So this was a blanket do not resuscitate pushed out on people with learning disabilities and other immensely vulnerable people. Where have we seen this sort of policy before? Now, this may shock you, but if you don't know, you need to know about this. Have a look for the T4 program, that's Tiergartenstraße 4. This was a program in 1933 where the Nazis started to kill off, a mass killing off of the mentally ill and the disabled. And I have to say, on the UK column News Today, in my mind, there is no difference with what we have seen under the surface around this do not resuscitate withdrawing of medical care to old and vulnerable people. This has its origins in the same Nazi policy. David?
Well, I was just going to say to David, look, just very, very briefly, when you look at comments on social media and so on, when you try to draw parallels between what's going on in the present day with what happened in the 1930s Germany, anytime the word Nazi comes up, the response from certain people is, well, if you're falling back on that old trope, you've basically lost your argument. But it's pretty hard to accept that position at this point.
Yeah, history doesn't repeat itself, but sometimes it rhymes. Ordinary people, and we'll see this later in the show, are seeing the parallels because the parallels are real. Let's come back to that later on, folks.
Yes.